Hey, Randy Hunter here, and I wanted to let you know about a new lesson set I've got, the Minor 251 series. Now I know that's really a clever name. I worked really hard to come up with that one, but really, hopefully this lesson will make up in content for what the title lacks in creativity. Anyway, this is a lesson series for folks that are have some basic background. Maybe you understand major 251s. Maybe you've worked through my lesson series called One Exercise, All Chords, which would be a great series to do before this series. This is a great follow-up series for that one, hopefully, I think anyway. But anyway, this one contrasts the difference between major 251s and minor 251s. So I would say it's really pretty cool if you've got an understanding of major 251s before you get too deeply involved in minor 251s, because they are a little bit more complex. Now, currently, there are 3 lessons in this series, and I'll likely add more as time goes on, but I wanted to get a good 3-lesson introduction to minor 251s. The first lesson is called the What's and Whys, and basically goes through the different kinds of chords that we have in minor 251 progressions, because we've got some options. It's not like major 251s where we have a minor 7, dominant 7, major 7 chord. Minor 251s are a little more complex, so like I said, I'll go through the different types of chords that are included in minor 251s in part 1. Part 2 of the series is called the scales. Now we've got some scale options. It's not as simple as learning one scale and then playing your minor 251s using one scale. I mean, there are some options for playing one scale, like perhaps the harmonic minor scale. We'll go through that, but there are also scales that go specifically with the different kinds of chords that are involved in minor 251s. And part 3, and you heard me in the opening clip, I was playing along with a play-along track that comes from part 3 in this series, and it's called Creating Phrases. So we take the vocabulary and the chord progression, and I show you some basic minor 251 sounds that are strongly associated with things like the altered dominant chord and tonic minor chords. So stay tuned, because I'm going to show you some brief examples from each of these lessons. And remember, the lessons can be purchased individually or collectively at a discount, and they're available for purchase at beginningsax.com, or you can subscribe to my complete lesson series, have access to everything I've got at randyhunterjazz.vhx.tv. It's really a good deal. I hope you'll consider that. Okay, so stay tuned for some of these samples. To go at this point. So again, let me mention, there are complexities in minor 251s that you don't encounter in just the regular major 251 progression. We have a number of chords that are interchangeable within minor 251s, and a number of different scales that can be used for creating these chords. Now, one thing that holds constant is that your 2 chord is a minor 7 flat 5, otherwise known as half diminished. Get used to using that symbol and that notation interchangeably, because minor 7 flat 5, half diminished mean exactly the same thing. Now, the dominant chord, the 5 chord in a minor 251, can be just a straight up dominant. Although we're not going to cover just straight up dominant chords here. I mean, we cover those in a lot of other places. So we'll talk about dominant flat 9 chords, and you also have sharp 9 chords, dominant sharp 9, and sometimes you may even encounter altered dominant chords, so it'd be like a 7. A quick solution, and one that you'll hear a lot of folks use, is to go to the harmonic minor scale. And like I've suggested that you play the harmonic minor scale in minor 251 positions, or chord progressions anyway, in some of our soloing on tunes and quick tunes lessons. It's a great sound. It's certainly not an end-all sound, and certainly not the only sound. If it was, we wouldn't really need to go any farther with this lesson. But let's take the A harmonic minor scale. The harmonic minor scale is very similar to the natural minor scale. It's got a minor third, a minor six, but it has a major seven. So our scale, A harmonic minor, will be A, B, C natural, again minor third, perfect fourth is D, perfect fifth is E, minor six is F natural, major seven is G sharp. Now, we could take that chord, or that scale anyway, and we could build a chord off of the second step. So let's take the second step of the A harmonic minor scale. That would be B. If we go up in thirds, up the A harmonic minor scale in thirds, from B, we would find B, D, F natural, A. That's perfect. That's a minor seven because it's B, minor third is D, the seven is A, and it's got a flat five because the F natural in relation to B is a flat at five. Forgot your axe, play that a few times, dig the sound of it. Now, if we go to So I know many of you are really interested in the music theory behind the things that we learn. So for that reason, I'm kind of taking our time with this minor 251 series. First of all, in part one, I wanted to make sure that you understood the chord possibilities. Now, in this part of the lesson, I want to make sure that you understand the scales that the different chords are constructed from, because we talked a lot about the harmonic minor scale in the previous part of the lesson, but in this lesson we're going to get a little bit more specific into the chords, or into the scales that the chords are constructed from. Whatever it is, B half diminished chord, think up a half step, and that takes you to the root of your major scale. So B, a half step up, is C. So C is kind of our home scale for the B half diminished chord, at least when we derive it from the Locrian scale. So the notes in that particular scale, when we start on the seventh, when we start on the B, are and we can build an arpeggio 1, 3, 5, 7, B, D, F, A. If we construct an arpeggio, a 1, 3, 5, 7 arpeggio based on the B Locrian scale, we can see that that one fits perfect. The half diminished arpeggio. We'll use sounds from the altered dominant that are very characteristic of the altered dominant chord, the flat 9, sharp 9 third, and flat 6. And for our resolution chords, our tonic minor chords, sometimes we'll have minor 7 chords, sometimes minor major 7 chords, sometimes minor 6 chords, and some of our licks will fit on all three of these types of chords. In fact, most of them will. That's the kind of sound that would fit over all three types of minor chords, but we'll get into that in a minute. Let's just start out with a good old basic minor 2-5-1 that sounds like. Now, that one, as you can see, starts on the third of the half diminished chord. That's the D. And remember, I'm talking tenor sax key, but you've got your alto and concert pitch transpositions here. 3, 5, 8, 7 on the half diminished chord. that goes right into the sharp 9 on the altered chord, on the E7 flat 9 chord. The sharp 9 is your G natural. Right down the flat 9 to the flat 6. And then the major third on that dominant chord kind of sets up that tonic minor chord. You know, you hear the pull from the major third to the root of the minor chord. I like to kind of surround it. And there we've got a complete 2-5-1. Listen to the whole thing. Now once you hit that minor